As Rebecca mentioned, I'm Michelle Gregg, Executive Director for Crop Health Laboratories, and going to be sharing with you today some of the benefits of plant sap analysis as an emerging technology in the field of biotechnology for precision agriculture. If you give me a moment, I'm going to go ahead and screen share with all of you so you can see the presentation. So my background is in food production and manufacturing, and really I'm going to be approaching this from two different angles. One being regulatory perspective, because we have, especially in the United States, this growing concern for shared resources, specifically conservation practices that affect soil and water, which is a shared resource. And two, from the perspective of a grower and or consultant. I understand that today the audience is almost exclusively certified crop advisors through the American Society of Agronomy. And so plant sap analysis has implications for both being able to better manage regulation and better comply with regulation that affects crop production and food processing. And additionally, from those of you who are directly involved in nutrient management practices, this tool can be used to not only better your understanding of what's going on within the plant and nutrient uptake, but help you advise clients on exactly how much inputs these crops need versus typically over application of crop inputs. The objectives today are to introduce you to plant sap analysis, again, both from a regulatory standpoint and from that of the farmer and consultant. Secondly, to allow you more understanding of what this is. It is another tool that you can put in the proverbial toolbox for nutrient management. However, it generates some unique data that the United States has not really embraced fully. So we want to give you the latest that we have in some of our trials and let you run with it. Thirdly, the understanding of the CHL business model. We are a proof of concept company. I'm in year 2 of 4 of pilot study to test the marketability and the usability, the user friendliness of the plant sap analysis program as introduced by NovaCrop from the Netherlands. Point number 4 is to increase networks in precision agriculture. Occasions such as this allow us to gain insight from all types of people and all types of situations. We have crop consultants from California, consultants from Ohio. We have growers from Texas and Florida and Canada and Mexico, all on the call today. So we definitely want to allow some time at the end to take questions and considerations, not only for my benefit with the technology, but for the mutual benefit of all the attendees. And lastly, I want to share also what we have learned. There's been successes and lessons that we've learned in the past 2 years that have implications for both consultants and for the future of crop health laboratories. Plant sap analysis was introduced by Nova Crop Control. They're located in the Netherlands. Plant sap is unique. It generates unique data. Compared to tissue and soil analysis, we are able to extract the sap from the phloem and the xylem of the plant. And by doing that, it's the equivalent of a blood test. If you can picture the kind of data that you would generate from a blood test versus that of a tissue test if you were yourself going to the doctor. Crop Health Laboratories is the U.S. distributor of plant sap analysis for Nova Crop Control. And again, this particular technology is the equivalent of a blood test, and it identifies precursors to nutrient deficiency. And the key point is it allows growers to proactively manage plant nutrition. Typically, what we have with nutrient deficiencies, as identified by tissue analysis, is the nutrient deficiency has already occurred by the time that we get the results from the tissue analysis. And what plant sap analysis allows us to do is proactively, before the plant even exhibits symptoms phenotypically of being deficient, taking that initial sap reading or blood reading and using that, trending the data week by week, and then we can anticipate nutrient sinks before the plant experiences a sink in vitality and or production. This is a clip of Nova Crop Control's website. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, they are a multinational company. they operate largely out of Europe. So if you go to the website, which is novacropcontrol.nl, you'll need to select one of these various flags with which you associate a language, and then your website readability will populate respectively. There is a great chasm between the available nutrition that we get in soil analysis versus that we find in tissue analysis. And what is taken up by the plant is not necessarily reflected by what is available in the soil or in the growth medium. Plant sap analysis is a very versatile technology. Here we see a greenhouse that's full of flowers. Netherlands is known specifically for tulip development. But what we end up with in using tissue and soil analyses is there's this chasm that's left, right, between the soil, what the plant actually takes up, and what it deposits to the leaves. The leaves are important because that's the epicenter of all the photosynthetic processes. That's where glucose is needed the most. That's where all the nutrition is needed the most, because the plant has to continually generate energy. And so by taking the leaves, which is the main tissue that's collected during plant sap analysis screening, and extracting the sap out of that, we have a very clear picture of the nutrient needs for the plant as fueled by photosynthesis. Sometimes it's easier to describe what something is by what it is not. And again, we are not dealing with tissue analysis. We're not dealing with soil. This is a completely new type of data that we're working with. Again, as a blood test for plants, we have here the young growth. So younger leaves that are tested are shown here with the light green coloring, and the darker leaves are reflected by the dark green coloring. There are 21 different parameters by which we evaluate the plants. Some of the non-nutrient indicators here are total sugars, total pH, electrical conductivity, EC, and then some key ratios like potassium to calcium. And you'll see here there are 4 different types of nitrogen, which will also come into play. You as consultants definitely are aware of this, but ammonium is an indicator of total plant health and viability, nitrate, total N and nitrate, and then total nitrogen. There are 15 different macro and micronutrients. So we have the N, the P, the K, sulfur, and then additional micronutrients, which we're finding help or inhibit the absorption of the main macronutrients. By trending this data over time, you will get a chart for each time you test. So this is the PDF version, and it shows the different levels here, which is low, medium, and high, respectively, with regard to these different the different types of assays that are being tested. But what you also get, which you can't see right here, is a spreadsheet and an electronic portal to be able to go in and access your data and really trend this data over time and use it. The Netherlands founders are pictured here, Jord Smits and Bart Vromans. These 2 individuals are the brains behind plant sap analysis. It was developed as not only a nutrient management technique, but a problem-solving technique. So these 2 gentlemen have been farmers and consultants their entire working career, and they wanted a better way to be able to tell their clients how to manage plant nutrition. And the Netherlands is pretty cutthroat in terms of its competition for agricultural consultation. I mentioned tulips, and a myriad of other crops were developed, and their genetics were developed in the Netherlands. So having a one-up on your competition is really pretty important, especially given the size of the Netherlands compared to something like the US or North America at large. It was developed again as a troubleshooting device, and it's been really effective. The Netherlands-based company has had to do very little advertising, if any, and they've found that they are able to better consult their clients, better direct their clients on the use and nutrient uptake of particular varieties of nutrient blends for crops. The main feedback that we're getting from clients is that they are increasing their return on investment. So there is a cost up front for any kind of diagnostic or nutrient assay. The cost that we have is about $65 per test, and our growers are noting that they have decreased their nitrogen, their total nitrogen applications by upwards of 15%. Our team here in the States is pictured. Philip Vandenbos is the owner of Crop Health Laboratories. Myself, Michelle Gregg, pictured in the center, and support staff Shirley McCulley, who is our logistics coordinator. So if you call into the office or if you have questions about where your shipment is or how to sample, Shirley, pictured there, will be able to assist you by phone or email. My main role is testing marketability and communicating with potential investors, also promoting the technology and answering questions from groups like yourself. We're promoting SAP analysis as a tool. It is not a silver bullet because there is no such thing as a silver bullet in nutrient management. It consists of management practices, it consists of weather and other conditions, growing conditions, access to water, access to sunlight, and the type of management that you have, whether it's greenhouse or season-long production or an area that has a more temperate climate where you can only produce something for 3 months. But plant sap analysis it has high usability across the board. And as long as your plant takes up nutrition through a root system, plant sap analysis can be used. The only exclusion that we have to that is sweet potatoes, which we found in the past 2 years, because their sap is so thick and it produces somewhat of a sticky substance. The plant sap is not able to be extracted as other plants' sap analysis would be able to be. In the past 2 years, Crop Health Laboratories has made some significant progress. We've expanded to Canada and Mexico. The primary objective was to get SAP analysis up and running in the United States and to test the marketability there. However, Canada and Mexico, through some of our extended networks, have been very interested in the technology and have adopted it. In terms of growth, we started out with one distributor in 2014 and have expanded to 20. We have 5 university trials, 5 university research trials in place to further vet the technology. Our goal is to have it validated by 2018 so that the results that you get can be standardized across the board, just like it would be with tissue analysis or soil analysis currently. We have a net profit, and for a startup company, that's pretty good. I've been very diligent in keeping costs exceptionally reasonable, specifically for the agriculture market. And then we wanted to remove all barriers to success. So in the first 2 years, Crop Health Laboratories paid for all of the shipping costs. We just wanted to see, given the technology, would growers continue to use it? Would consultants continue to use it without any additional cost for shipping? And because of that and a few other factors to add value, the program has been successful, and we were able to generate a net profit in year 1 and year 2. Startup culture, just rough statistics, about 80% of startups fail, and they typically fail within the first 5 years, and it takes about 5 years to generate a profit. So to be profitable at the end of year 2 means that our value proposition is pretty good. Validation, again, we're working towards validation of the technology to allow you as consultants to be able to better advise your clients on a more standardized level. We have included some value-added services and education, so educational ventures like today and on-site workshops. We have expanded our educational trainings so that we go to consulting firms and go to agricultural input creators, manufacturers, and we train their entire staff. Additional value-added services include the Solvita test, include lysimeter testing, and access to the standard soil, tissue, and paste analysis. We also have compost and just overall microbial testing to verify if you have bioactive product for inoculants or whatnot, and to also verify if you have any pathogenic microbes in some of the substances that you're using. We have a 90% customer retention rate. So growers that were on with us in 2014, 90% of them were retained. And again, from 2015 to 2016 so far, we have a 90% retention, which I think speaks to the value proposition of the product. Pictured here in the top left, one of our distributors, Advancing Eco-Agriculture, is seen here with a field of strawberries out in Santa Clara, California. So they were able to develop, we've been able to develop crop-specific sampling guides for 12 crops that are specific to US and Canada. Again, the technology was developed in the Netherlands, so by being able to expand the application of the technology to crops that are typically grown in the United States, that's really adding to the value that growers get out of it. We have university research trials for validation and third-party review. So SAP analysis is being reviewed as part of 6 university research trials here in the States. Customized trainings, top center. Creation of training protocol for both consultants and users of the program. So in the first 2 years, we focused largely on training the end user in the simple logistics of this is how you take a sample, this is when you take a sample, this is how to package the box for shipping. And we realized very quickly that we've been doing a lot of these trainings, and really what we need to do is train a more limited number of consulting firms and agricultural manufacturers, and then allow them to carry on that training to, if they want, the end user, or retain that information for themselves and use it as a tool in terms of their consultation practices. We've also developed our network significantly, and we want to create strategic partnerships with laboratory partners. So the goal, again, for SAP analysis is to expand the data pool that consultants and growers have access to. And typically, growers and consultants go to laboratories to get data. So we want to add value to what current laboratories can offer by allowing them to use the SAP analysis technology. Some real-life examples of how plant SAP analysis is used. We have clear on the far left, AgroK. There's a field of low bush blueberries here in Saskatchewan, and we did not have data on low bush blueberries, and we need at least 250 different sets, meaning young growth and old growth, collected together to generate these values of what is ideal, what is low, and what is high for any given crop in terms of the nutrient values. So we're able to, this is an ongoing project that we're working on with AgroK. Prairie View Hybrids out of Indiana here in the States. It's a certified organic corn operation. They create new varieties of certified organic corn, and they wanted to test their different varieties for return on investment with regard to inputs and see which varieties took up more calcium, which varieties took up more nitrogen, etc. And by using SAP analysis, they're able to differentiate and get these ideal serum levels, really, of what these crops look like and the ones that they want to continue to propagate. Advancing Eco-Agriculture, here's a strawberry field in Oxnard, California. One of their clients does genetics, and again, they wanted to test the nutrient uptake and the return on investment for these different types of varieties. Also managing indicators of plant health, and by doing that, indicators of plant distress by using plant SAP analysis. Keystone Bioagriculture, they're seen here with a hoop house that's housing already collected onions. We did an onion trial because there are numerous types of onions, different varieties, and we wanted some SAP analysis values that were specific to some of the more popular varieties of onions here in the States. So we created a completely new database of onion parameters, sweet onions, red onions, in addition to the existing onion data we have with NovaCrop. Again, we're generating some unique data. Along with unique data, we also have expedited results, which adds to the value. We have about 5 to 7 days from the point that the grower samples until they have the results in their inbox. All results are sent electronically, and that also adds to the expedited nature of this data. The data that's generated is pretty exclusive to nutrient management. It measures the nutrient content of plant sap and allows us to verify the nutritional integrity of plants. Again, more of a proactive approach because we know what nutrients to expect that will be low or high. It's a pretty robust assay, so 21 different indicators is certainly better than just NPK and S. 21 different results, including sugar, EC, and 4 different types of nitrogen. And it's comparative analysis. So instead of just taking tissue or just taking plant sap from old leaves, we do a comparison of young growth to old growth, and that really, really showcases nutrient mobility as the plant ages. The products and services that we offer, again, the primary one is plant sap analysis. And I'm sure all of you in the room are familiar with the rest of these, but I will run through them. Lysimeter, which is offered through Ag Laboratory in Santa Maria, California. It's a long probe. It goes several inches into the ground, ceramic tip to measure available nutrients, soluble nutrients. The Solvita test, developed by the Woods End Laboratory in Maine. It's an indicator of available nutrition and indicators of soil microbe respiration. Soil and saturated paste analyses, microbial testing, and a new one is drone services and data analytics. So we have several providers of drone services that we allow to be contracted out to our various growers who are interested in data overlay. And we also have a data analytics company that we're doing some preliminary trials with that can help growers maintain that data and do the data overlay for them, so it's less of a hassle. When to sample logistics. This is the order form that you would get in by email, and you would fill out, you can see here, location, crop, and then the sample name. As a consultant, you're going to fill this out with regard to your consultant name, and then also assign your different growers codes, or you can make location as location 1 here. You can make that your client's name. As a result of that, you are going to get labels. So you're going to sample your crop, again, young leaf and old leaf, young leaf and old leaf. About 80 grams per bag is going to be needed. And then you're going to receive a pre-barcoded label that will be applied to each of these crops. The labels look like this. The benefit of having a barcode is expedited results, because instead of the controller who receives the samples having to go and inventory everything, they just pull out the bar scanner, it's done, it's pre-populated, and the samples go to sampling and laboratory processing much more quickly. Overall, again, we a 90% retention rate on our clients. I have pictured here Michael Omeg, who's one of our larger clients, uses SAP analysis on his orchard in Oregon. He says, SAP analysis has become the key component of my nutrient management program. Using this tool, I'm able to adjust the contents of nutrient applications in real time, correcting deficiencies or excesses before they become visible in the crop or tissue, thereby maintaining an optimal mineral balance throughout the growing season. SAP analysis maximizes my fruit quality and nutrient density. Additional resources that we have, I've included this for Rebecca to distribute after the seminar. SAP analysis in the news. There's several hyperlinks to some of our presentations that are coming up, and then additionally some previous work that we've done. Our Power Grower seminar, we also have that for sale. If you want us to come out and do a presentation to your group, we're happy to do that. We also have some with some partners that have allowed us to record those sessions that are available at a lower price. Several articles in print, and then some resources that are available directly from Nova Crop Control from their website, and then other research articles. Of the research trials that we have in place here in the States, again, we have 6 trials at 5 different universities, and all of that data will be wrapped up by the end of 2016. Most of those trials were 2-year trials just to get an adequate amount of data so that we don't jump to conclusions about certain associations or certain findings. We wanted to do thorough work and make sure we had at least 2 years of data before we publish. I will be available for any questions, and at this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Rebecca. I thank the Society of Agronomy for allowing me to present today, and wish you well in the rest of your presentations. Thank you.